To the Most High. Back again. Want to talk about civics. We want to talk about this case here. They say 5 charged in a horrifying Cincinnati brawl. But I'm here to tell you that let's watch the video.
Hate crime charges could be coming. The Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, writing, quote, "Our federal hate crime laws apply to all Americans. We Civil Rights will monitor closely how local authorities handle this attack. Nobody in our great nation should be the victim of such a crime and where race is a motivation. Federal law may apply." Vice President J.D. Vance also weighing in yesterday while speaking in Ohio.
What I saw
First,
is a mob of lawless thugs beating up on an innocent person, and it's disgusting. And I hope every single one of those people who engage in violence is prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
well, we know that's white supremacy, right? We know that's we know that's we know this is white supremacy, what he's talking and what all the other people are talking. But we want to talk about the law in this. They said hate crime should be applied to all our American citizens. First place, these Russians were not American citizens. They were the instigator of the hate crime. They were the people who were committing the hate crime. They were committing the hate crime. They initiated the first offense. Okay? They are the party that initiated the first injury. They injured assault and battery, plus racial slurs, and then the assault and battery injury. So they are the initiator. They should be the first people charged with the crime. We know recently we heard that those Russians left town. They got to book the first flight and got out of the country, because they should be the first people charged with the hate crime. And our vice president said that they should be the people the thugs who commit heinous crimes, like putting their hands on people and calling them racial slurs. And he hit him because he said nigger. He said nigger. So the violence came because he felt like this man was something beneath him and should not even be arguing with him. So he shouldn't be arguing with me. You a nigger. You beneath me. You 3/5 of a man. We got the message all the way in Russia that your fake government is declaring that you people are back in slavery again. First place, and now let's look at the rest of it. And well, I want to say that they cannot place charges on the people who were victims and defended themselves because they don't have an injured party.
Man who sucker punches a middle-aged woman, that person ought to go to jail for a very long time.
Cincinnati police say the brawl started around 3 a.m. Saturday in downtown Cincinnati. A white man is seen punched and kicked by a group of black people. We do not know who started this brawl or why. In another angle, a woman appearing to try to protect the man is sucker punched by another man, knocked out cold.
Now, I don't think you should ever hit a woman like that, especially if she's just scratching and pushing. I don't think you should ever hit her like that, because I just don't think so, and I don't, so I don't think that was right. Now, back to the man and the courts and this system of supposed to be a legal system they got here. The law states that there has to be before you can bring charges or action in court against a party, an accused party, you have to have a sworn statement, a sworn affidavit, sworn out, and you have to have an injured party. And due process says that the injured party has to stand before the people who they are accusing and present their argument how they were injured, and present their case and present their testimony that they were injured wrongly. This man was not injured wrongly. Maybe the fight lasted too long. He got up and walked away because it looked like to me the woman was hit harder and harder than the man was hit. They were slapping him upside his head and doing little kicks on him. But the man was not bleeding, was not hurt, didn't even look like he got bruised. Why didn't they show his bruises? They hit her harder than they hit him. And I'm not for ever hitting a woman. But they follow their men into wherever they lead them. They beat our black women, kill them, shoot them down, laugh at them, go in and blow their brains out in their own houses and stuff like that, but nobody gets upset because white supremacy feel like we should never protect ourselves against them. It's illegal to protect yourself against them. But I just want to show you another video that tells you how the law should handle this. Okay, we're gonna look at this. We're gonna say fair use. Let's see. Okay. Fair Use Act 1976 allowances is made for fair use. Videos that other contents that may otherwise be infringed. Fair use was made so that we can use these videos and content for education purposes, entertainment. But this is for education. This is not. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm showing you what the law states, what their law states. Okay, let's look.
Fair hearing, and to win your ticket in the process. To make this plan work for you, you must listen and speak it out loud to cement it in your brain and tongue so it becomes crystal clear in your own mind. We're going to show you how to enforce your right to a fair hearing and to win your ticket in the process. To make this plan work for you, you must listen and speak it out loud to cement it in your brain and tongue so it becomes crystal clear in your own mind and you will be prepared for any response. You must be clear enough that you don't have to stop and think, but must always be in control of this plan. The first appearance you make in court is your arraignment, in which the purpose is for the court to present the charges and find out how you intend to react, by standing up for your rights or being fearful and an easy target. During this proceeding, the judge will inform you of the charges against you and attempt to get you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. A third choice is no contest, which is essentially pleading guilty without admitting guilt. Be careful, however, because as soon as you open your mouth to enter a plea, you have given them formal jurisdiction over you. If you intend to follow our procedure and win, you must not enter a plea. The judge's first question to you should be something to the effect of, do you understand the charges against you? Or it might be, how do you intend to plea? You must say no, you do not understand, or you cannot enter a plea until you get some questions answered. The judge will probably be irritated and try to intimidate you. You must politely state that you need to have some questions answered before you can enter your plea. Tell him that you do not understand the nature and cause of the action against you. Once the judge has agreed to answer your questions, your first question will be, is this going to be a civil action or a criminal action? In the highly unlikely chance that the judge answered your question by saying it is a civil action, your response will be, thank you, Your Honor. Let the record reflect that this is a civil action. Your Honor, since this is a civil action, I make a motion to dismiss for lack of a sworn complaint by an injured party and no injured party is present. More likely,
Did you hear what he just said? If no injured party is present, no sworn complaint, the sworn complaint and must be presented with the injured party. It's called due process. And if that's not happening, if they are out of town, if they don't come back and argue they make their argument before the judge and a jury, and probably a jury, that and in front of the jury, and we have laws. You can't start a fight and then put a time limit on how long it should last. If you start the fight, then it's over when it's over. So they have to, their argument would be that for them to win, their argument would be that they were injured innocently. They did not do anything to start the fight. No weapons were brought out. They used their hands. And the family members, the indigenous people of this land, assured that that man did not get away, did not call the police. They handled it themselves. That's sovereignty. That is sovereignty. That's the argument right there. They handled it themselves. They made sure that he wouldn't want to put his hands on anybody as easily as he did. And he got his girlfriend or wife right there with him. He jeopardized her safety. But the point I'm trying to bring out is that the injured party must be innocent, and they must have a sworn affidavit, and they must present themselves in due process in front of the people who they are accusing, and give them people a chance to argue their side. Let's keep listening.
The judge has stated that this is a criminal action, so you respond, "Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court then show that this action against me is a criminal action." Now I have another question. Your Honor, the Constitution grants this court two different criminal jurisdictions. One is a criminal jurisdiction under the common law, and the other is a criminal jurisdiction under admiralty or military tribunal venue from Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution. In which of these two criminal jurisdictions does the court intend to try me? Don't panic if you don't get the article, section, and clause. You'll have them down by the time you have practiced. But if you are afraid of getting it wrong, it would be wise to have some brief notes with that clause number in it. If the judge gives a specific answer, you will again say, "Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court then show that this action against me is a criminal action under whichever jurisdiction," he replied. However, don't expect an easy answer to that question, as you have just exposed the court's fraud. The truth is that they are acting under a military tribunal of which they have no right to use with you. But the judge can't say that. And he can't say common law, because if he does, you will make a motion to have the case dismissed because there is no sworn complaint by an injured party and no injured party present, exactly like you did if he said it was a civil action. When you protest that there is no injured party, if the judge is silly enough to say that the state of whatever state you're in is the injured party, then say, "Your Honor, I make a motion that this case be dismissed. We are in the wrong court." If the state is a party to the case, they cannot also be the judge and prosecutors. This case needs to be transferred to federal court or be dismissed. More likely, the judge will try to avoid answering and will tell you to get a licensed attorney.
See, here's the thing. Now, if you heard what he just said about the state and the prosecutor and the state said, well, they didn't take the case up. They can't take the case because there cannot be a third party presenting the case for the injured party. You can't tell somebody else, I don't feel like going to court. Go in there and argue my case for me. You can't hire nobody to do that. He wasn't there. The injured party, the prosecutor, none of the police officers was there. The witness can't go in and argue the case for you. You got to go stand before the people you are accusing and prove how they injured you, and it was unfairly, and you did not provoke them, and you did not injure them first, and they were not defending themselves in this case. So the state cannot take up charges against you because the state only can take up contracts. You have to have a contract with the state in order for it to take you to court. And that would be a civil case. The state cannot take up criminal charges saying you injured the state statute. You broke the state statute. The state statute is not a living person. The state can only bring charges against people who have injured people as criminal. Property and stuff like that. If the state got some property, I don't see how, because the state is not a living thing. It's a made up thing on paper. You can't injure paper. The only people that foreign government can bring to court, can summons to come to court, is people who has injured some of their citizens, another human being. And because we don't have that's why it's so important for us to gather together and form our government peacefully, and then we can deal with them as harsh as they deal with us, or as kindly as they deal with us, because we will have the people to back us. The only thing different between us and them, they're a nation, we a nation, they're Esau, we're Jacob. They have people they are united. White supremacy, but they're united. And it's all right to unite and have love and be racist, concerned for your race, and protect your race, and set up checks and balances against these other nations who will harm you. Domestic and foreign threats. It's all right. We don't have to have them as our government. We consent to them governing us by accepting the representative that they sent out and placed up there to and tell us, hey, these are your representatives. No, we don't. We don't have to vote. We don't have to participate in none of their rigmarole. So let's keep listening.
For such legal advice. Your response will be, "Thank you, Your Honor, but I don't think you'd be violating your oath of office if you did your duty under the Constitution. You see, I am not seeking legal advice. What I want to know is legal intent. I have the right to appear as myself in my own person without a licensed attorney. And in order to intelligently defend myself, I have to know the jurisdiction that this court is operating under, because the rules of criminal procedure under a common law jurisdiction are very different from the rules of criminal procedure under an admiralty or military tribunal. I need to know under which jurisdiction you intend to try me in order for me to proceed with this case. The Sixth Amendment grants me the right to know the jurisdiction being applied, and it grants you the duty to inform me, and I don't think you'd be violating your oath of office for doing your duty. Therefore, will you please answer the question so this court is properly identified?" If the judge still responds by telling you to get an attorney, your answer will be, "Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court then show that I, your name here, the accused in this criminal action, has asked the court to divulge the nature and cause of the accusation upon the authority of the Sixth Amendment, and that this court has failed in its duty to inform me of the nature and cause of the action. Furthermore, let the record also show that this court intends to bring this action against me under a secret jurisdiction known only to licensed attorneys." At this point, the judge might claim that this is a statutory jurisdiction under the statutes of the state of whatever state you're in. If he does so, your next statement is, "Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court then show that it intends to conduct a criminal action against me under a statutory jurisdiction." But, Your Honor, that raises another question. I have never heard of such a thing as a criminal action under statutory jurisdiction, and there is no such jurisdiction established in the Constitution. I would be happy to accept this, Your Honor, if you could please tell me where I can find the published rules of criminal procedure under a statutory jurisdiction, and where this nature, cause, and jurisdiction information exists. It is imperative that I have the published rules of procedure so that I may conduct a fair defense and a fair trial. Now keep in mind the judge...
See, so there's no statutory rules, no statutes that's the laws they made. Wisdom of Solomon 2 will make laws and call it justice. That's their laws. And they are not ratified. Those are legalese. They are not laws. Nobody consent to it. They're not common law. The common law is the Constitution. The law of the land is the Constitution, which is the common law, which is God's moral laws and God's civic laws. How we should judge each other. Do unto others, you have them to do unto you. Right? That's the laws. That's where they get their laws from. Judah, jurisdiction, Judah, justice system, Judah, God's system. That's where they got it from. So there's no statutes. They can't come and make up a law, their own law. The God already has laws. And they're for every man. They're for every group of people on the earth. If they're good enough for us, they're good enough for everybody on the earth to treat people godly. And they can't make up their own laws and force people outside their jurisdiction. Maybe people who consent to their government or part of their employees that commit to their policies and say, "Hey, if you just make us rich, we'll do whatever you tell us to do. We'll be your citizens." We're not their citizens. We're not their residents. They just can't map out a territory, draw a neighborhood on a piece of paper and say, "Hey, we're gonna draw a red line around this neighborhood, and we're gonna say we have jurisdiction over you people that live in this neighborhood, that live in this territory, and we're gonna call you our citizens without your consent." No, that's why we need to farm, go back and farm. Thank God for IUIC, man. What they did in Houston, in Texas, what they did in Houston, Texas. They came out and marched as God's army. They are coming. They are coming around. Thank God for all our YouTubers and all the people that came from nowhere, TikTok and Instagram, who's saying these other nations got to go. We have nothing to do with them. They have no reason over here. They have no jurisdiction over us. We are the copper-colored people. That girl said copper color. We are the copper-colored people, copper people. She said copper people. We are the copper people, and everybody else shouldn't be here. Thank God for the Oriental woman who said that the Native American Indians came from the Yellow River, China. They are Chinese. They are Orientals. China and Japanese were the original people that where Esau went and established his new delegates. He went in and took over and subdued Moab and Ammon, and then they branched out from that. They manipulated the genes and branched out into Koreans and you know how it happened. So thank God for all of that. But this is just an education right here to let you know how their system is set up and how a godly system is set up, how the courts should be set up, and they are set up like this. We just don't know how to respond, and this meme is showing us how to do it.
Made up this jurisdiction. There is no granted authority for a statutory jurisdiction and no published rules. But don't expect him to tell you that. He must either lie, dismiss a case, or unlawfully enter a plea on your behalf. In rare cases, he might even threaten you with contempt of court. If he threatens contempt, say, "Your Honor, I do not wish to be held in contempt. I am simply trying to exercise my Sixth Amendment right that you disclose the nature and cause of the charges against me. I can provide court citations that show that the exercise of a constitutional right cannot be converted into a crime. Please either identify the properly established jurisdiction, or I make a motion that you dismiss the case against me." Also unlikely, but still possible, is that the judge will tell the truth when you ask under which criminal jurisdiction you were being tried, and will tell you that it is an admiralty jurisdiction. If this happens, you would respond, "Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court then show that this court intends to..."
Admiralty is is the jurisdiction that they had over us on those slave ships. Whether they was taking us from here down into the Caribbean or bringing us from Africa over here, they had jurisdiction over us, forced jurisdiction. Okay? So that's what admiralty is, a military tribunal. You join their military, they got you consented again, you became their citizen. One was forced jurisdiction, the other jurisdiction, military tribunal, is consent jurisdiction. All right?
Proceed with a criminal action against me, your name here, as a condition of contract under an admiralty jurisdiction as a military tribunal under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. However, Your Honor, you must realize that you have no such jurisdiction without also having a valid international contract in dispute. I am not aware of having entered into any international contracts, so I deny that any such contract...
So international contract is an agreement, you consenting to them having jurisdiction over you. A contract, an agreement. That's civil, not criminal. That's what you have a military contract. You sign a contract when you go in the military. Right? You sign a contract. And when you admiralty is would be doing trade or something like that, they use the admiralty jurisdiction on you. You're still in business with a contract with the devil. You're still in contract with the wicked when you have one of those business contracts with them, but it's still just civil. It's not criminal.
Exist. Will you please instruct the prosecuting attorney to inform this court if there is such a contract, and if so, to place it into evidence and explain how I am party to it and am compelled to perform under it? If the prosecution cannot do so, Your Honor, I make a motion that this case against me be dismissed. Of course, if at any time your case is dismissed, make your pronouncement. Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court reflect that case number blah 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 against your name here has been dismissed. Now leave quietly, save your gloating for outside of the courtroom. And if at any time you sense a good opportunity to make a motion for dismissal, make it, even if it wasn't part of your prepared script. You need to be flexible and jump on any opportunities that are presented to you. Let's say that the judge has had enough of your questions and decides to help you out by entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Immediately object. Your Honor, I object. For you to enter a plea on my behalf is practicing law from the bench, because entering a plea is my job or my attorney's job. Has the court made a judicial determination that I am not guilty? Now you've really trapped him. For him to say yes, he has admitted that you are not guilty. At this point, state, thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court reflect that the judge has made a judicial determination that I am not guilty of the charges against me. Therefore, I make a motion that this case be dismissed because the judge has determined that I am not guilty. If he says no, he has not made a judicial determination, make a motion that the plea be withdrawn and you be allowed to enter your own plea once you know the nature and cause of the case pending against you. If the judge enters a plea of no contest, object, saying, Your Honor, I object. For you to enter a plea on my behalf is practicing law from the bench, because entering a plea is my or my attorney's job. I make a motion that the plea be withdrawn. For you to make a judicial determination that I am entering a plea of no contest would result in the court treating me as though I had pled guilty. The court is trying to constrain me to an unfair plea choice in the absence of my understanding the nature and cause of the charges against me. Or let's say that the judge instead gives you a continuance and demands that you obtain a licensed attorney. Ask, has the court made a judicial determination to deny me the right to defend myself in my own person and to force me into hiring a licensed attorney that will conspire with the court to try me under a secret jurisdiction known only to the judge and the licensed attorney? If you walk out of this hearing without a dismissal, go to step 2, pretrial motions contained in your written packet. You should ask for a motions hearing, or you could ask to have the motions heard at the beginning of the trial. However, to ask for a motions hearing shows the judge that you are not willing to be railroaded so easily. Tell him that you must resolve some pivotal key issues in order to continue, and that these motions must be heard prior to a trial. At a motions hearing, you cannot be found guilty, but the case can be dismissed. Either way, when the motions are heard, they must each stand on their own and be heard and ruled separately from the rest. Don't just hand over 5 motions and let the judge say all are overruled. Make him rule on each one individually. Now let's take this from the top in the manner in which it will probably happen. Do you understand the charges against you? No, Your Honor, I don't. I need you to answer a couple of questions. I need to understand the nature and cause of the charges against me. Is this case going to be heard under a civil jurisdiction or a criminal jurisdiction? Criminal. Thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of this court then show that this action against me is a criminal action. Now I have another...
Okay, so you get the message. What he's trying to show you is the tone that the judge is going to use, and at every turn he's going to try to scare you off of your square. So let's go back to the conclusion of this other. So yeah, let's see. Let's do this again.
Watched or were in
when you view this. Traffic was horrendous. People saw this. They were fighting in front of traffic. Why didn't somebody call us?
The police chief says the videos do not depict the entire incident. She says alcohol played a significant role in what's been characterized by the department as a sudden dispute following a verbal altercation. But Bill, 5 people so far have been charged. Those charges are sealed. We don't know the specific charges, and we anticipate, according to the police, more people will be charged.
Okay, so we haven't heard.
See, so we'll stop right there. We're gonna stop right here. But no charges. They haven't said what the charges are. See, the people, they don't have the injured party. That's due process. You can't charge the state. Like I said, the state can't take this case up because the law states that the injured party has to swear out an written affidavit, swear to it, come and stand before the people they accuse of injuring them, and show how they attack them without any aggravation. They attacked them when they innocent for just being innocent. They were innocent and they did not provoke any attack from these people. But in fact, they can't do that. We have videos and everything to say what happened. And the state, we just showed you, the state can't be a third party and argue the case without the people and bring charges, because the only charges the state can have a representative to is contracts, right? You can't injure a state statute. There's no law or no nothing to show you how to argue statute injury. How do you injure something that is not alive? Something that can't say, hey, you injured me. I've been injured. It's not real. Their government construct is not real. It's not living. So yeah, like I said about the plea bargain, we are willing to let white supremacy stay here. We don't want to, but we know God's still gonna move. All we trying to do is gather in peace and keep our laws that we came over here to keep from the beginning. We ran away from y'all, and y'all come over here and found us. You knew we was here. King James knew. He read the Apocrypha. All Fernandez and all of y'all knew we was here. This land was once attached to Africa and Europe. You tell me it's not so, then you have to explain how the animals got on this land across the ocean after the ark landed in Turkey. How did they swim across the Atlantic Ocean to get over here? The buffalo and everything, all the animals down in South America, those little lizards and groundhogs, they swim the ocean to get over here. No, this land was attached to Africa, and God separated it. He set the stage. He set the stage and put the stage over here because he was going to send us over here to complete our punishment over here. And he knew you people would follow us over here. You know, you didn't have, he gave you an opportunity to bless us or curse us. And you took the opportunity to curse us, like you helped all the other nations who you have subdued already and took their identity and calling yourself after the lands, you know, and you shedded blood in all the lands. So, you know, we understand, but we're not going to judge you. We're not going to judge you. We will indict you. God's going to judge you. We are the judges, but we're going to let God place his sentence on you. Because some of y'all don't believe that God is real. So he got to prove that to you. But we giving you a plea bargain. Return all of our privileges, our sovereignty. Return all of our lands that you're sitting on now. You charged us for water. We couldn't collect water. We couldn't plant fruit trees in our. You charged us and made us go to your markets. We could take that money back from you. We could take it and ask y'all to leave the land, but that ain't God's plan. So we're gonna let God handle you. But you're gonna have to recognize that you don't have white privileges no more, and you can't force us to assimilate back in slavery so you can be comfortable again. No, that's not going to happen. And God said he would not allow you to put us back in Egypt again. So what he's saying, you're not going to put us back in the fields. You're not going to continue your jurisdiction over us. And the more you do, the more he's going to hit you black with retribution. The faster you, and the more and the faster you hit us, the faster he going to return it on your head. He's going to return it on you guys. You just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to do it because you have no changes. You have to learn the hard way. And God going to show you. You've been laughing and talking about the sky daddy ain't real and y'all the gods on the earth. God's getting ready to show y'all who the real God is. So all praises to the Most High. And remember, I thank God for all you people who stood up and claiming your heritage back. And we're going to get on YouTube Live. And we're going to go over these laws. They say they got to talk about reparations. No, they don't have to talk and figure nothing out. They already figured it out for the indigenous people, who they call the Native American peoples. They already figure out what they owe you. So I got it online already, but I want to get online live and hear you guys talk about it, a way of uniting and discussing it. It's nothing to worry about. It's God's will that we gather together in the presence of our enemy. He will put us back together in the presence of our enemy. He's preparing the table before us in the presence of our enemy. And I'm hungry, so I'm sit down, get my fork and spoon, and hit down on the table. I'm ready to eat. All right? God bless you. Shalom.